council meeting to order. Invocation. God of truth, educate us now as we gather so that each of us has a clear grasp of the problems we need to discuss. Give us a clear purpose for this meeting and what goals we should achieve in this meeting. May these goals keep us on track and unite us in pursuit of a common goal. May these goals inspire each of us to actively participate rather than simply listen. May this meeting be vibrant and fruitful, and may the desired results be realized. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Here.
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 Present.
Here. Jim Olive.
Here.
Crystal Teddy.
Here.
Here.
All of them are present. Before we have the oath of office for the firefighter, I'd like to announce that the Pizza Hut liquor license application was withdrawn about 6 o'clock tonight, so if you're here for that, there will be no discussion or action on it. Firefighter Zach, DeLong.
Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of firefighter according to the best of your ability? Welcome. Alderman Brown, questions or comments? Roll call. Doug Brown?
Yes.
Megan Bryan?
Yes.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Steve
Yes.
Rogers? Kathy Driscoll?
Yes.
Jim Olive?
Yes.
Crystal Teddy?
Yes.
Randy Wilson?
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0. Minutes of the regular meeting held January 17th, 2023. Minutes of the Finance Committee meeting held January 19th, 2023. Minutes of the Ordinance Committee meeting held January 19th, 2023. Minutes of the Finance Committee meeting held January 26th, 2023. Minutes of the Street and Sewer Committee meeting held January 26th, 2023. Minutes of the Personnel Committee meeting held February 2nd, 2023. And minutes of the Emergency Services Committee meeting held February 2nd, 2023. Motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Alderman Bryant, second. Alderman Stalteri. Roll call.
Megan Bryan?
Yes.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Steve
Yes.
Rogers? Kathy Driscoll?
Yes.
Jim Olive?
Yes.
Crystal Teddy?
Yes.
Randy Wilson?
Yes.
Doug Brown?
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0. Tonight we'll have a presentation by Mr. Reg Ankrom with Simec Energy. So, Ms. Benson, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you for the invitation to be with you. The Mayor and I chatted a few times over the past couple of weeks. About a year ago, we recommended to the City Council, to the Mayor, that the electric aggregation program of the City of Taylorville be suspended for a year. At that time, we were looking for new rates. And by the way, I'm your consultant and your broker for electric aggregation. Simec is your energy assistant in that regard. And we've been with you since 2012. Anyway, we were looking for rates, and at the time, your rate was slightly less than 6 cents per kilowatt hour. And at the time we were in the market in December of 2021, we were looking at rates as high as 7 and 8 cents, which was significantly higher than the 6 cents. We could not recommend that to you. And so we recommended, as rates continued to climb in the competitive market, They reached as high as 18 cents a kilowatt hour about 6 months ago, while Ameren's rate right now is 11.833 cents. And we've been looking for rates ever since. We just reached really what I consider an optimal period, and we signed a contract for Taylorville last week with Constellation Energy from Chicago. There were 3 bidders: Homefield out of Collinsville, Illinois, Constellation out of Chicago, and Energy Harbor, which has an office in Chicago. They're a large Ohio utility. We have 2 other electric suppliers who we call on for bids also. They've not bid anything for more than a year because of the volatility in the energy market. But what we've seen here recently is shown by this graph. This is a graph of natural gas prices. And if you look at this line here, gas prices back in August were $9 per MMBTU. Probably doesn't tell us a lot until we find that today gas was on the market for $2.38. When we signed the contract, it was about $2.40. So we've seen a significant decrease in the price of natural gas. We use natural gas as kind of the exemplar for all energy. When natural gas goes up or down, so does coal, gasoline, diesel fuel, oil, and so on. And so when we see natural gas going down, we know we have an opportunity in the market. So we saw natural gas from a high of $9 per MMBTU. That's 1,000 therms, and a therm is 1,000 BTU. And so we saw this decline in the market. We knew that was a good indication. On the backside is the second piece of what goes in the electric rate, and that's called capacity. Natural gas represents the energy which is used to generate electricity, electrons which are put on a transmission system and brought to the city of Taylorville. And the capacity rate is the price or the cost of the capital that's invested in power plants. And this has shown us a significant movement over the past few years in the cost of capacity, the cost of that investment in power plants. And you'll note in the last 5 years, it's been $10 or less per megawatt day. Also meaningless until you see that in this year, the price rose to $236.66 per megawatt day, a significant increase, primarily due to the fact that Illinois has been closing coal-fired power plants. CIPS, which used to serve Taylorville and 65 downstate counties, has closed 4 of its 5 power plants. And I should say it wasn't really CIPS or Ameren today. Ameren in 2013 sold all of its power plants, all coal-fired plants, to Dynegy of Texas. The result was those plants ultimately got sold to Vistra, which now is the owner of those plants, remains the owner of those plants. And Vistra has chosen to shut them all down because they were sort of up against the wall. The Illinois Environmental Pollution Control Board required that coal-fired plants be brought up to speed, actually 15 years ago. It wasn't done, and so when the wall came, Vistra closed the plants. That's why this charge has gone up, because there's less supply for continuing demand, and we all know economically what happens when we have too little supply chasing high demand. Prices go up, and that's primarily why this line has gone up significantly. But our belief is that all of those things I just talked about have been factored into these prices, and so we think capacity is capped. We should see a nice even flow, and there has been some rumor that capacity rates will decrease next year, and that's good for us. So with this capped or going down, and natural gas, which is about 60%, energy is about 60 to 65% of what's in a kilowatt hour cost. We see those 2 things as being the keys to what's an optimal time for getting kilowatt hour prices, good prices. I can tell you that about 3 weeks ago, Peoria and 40 other central Illinois communities signed a rate of 12.094, I think it's 12.094 cents per kilowatt hour. We got a rate of 11.9 cents per kilowatt hour, so about a penny less than what Peoria will pay per kilowatt hour. And how does that compare to Ameren? Ameren's rates I mentioned 11.833 cents. So the difference between our rate and Ameren's rate is 0.00091 cents, which is about 2 cents per day for the year. Now, we're still over Ameren's price by 0.00091 cents. But there are a couple things, in addition to these factors I mentioned, natural gas prices going down and capacity being capped. We think that Ameren, which will adjust its rates in June, will have slightly higher rates when they adjust them in June. And if we're wrong about that, the good news is, and this is not really something to compare in terms of those two prices, Ameren's 11.833 and our 11.924 is what we got, 0.00091 difference, is that there is what's called a purchased energy adjustment. If we're on Ameren, as I am in Quincy where I live, we all pay a purchased energy adjustment. It's called PEA, and you'll find it on your bills. And right now, it's almost 5 cents, or excuse me, 5/10 of a kilowatt hour, 0.5 of a cent, half a cent per kilowatt hour, which will reduce our 11.833 to about 11.8 or 11.4, if you catch my drift. Ameren's people, Ameren customers, pay that in addition to the kilowatt hour charge. But it's not something we use to compare because Ameren's different than we are in terms of whether we pay it or not. When we're on a fixed rate, and our 11.9 cents will be fixed for 18 months. It'll start with meter readings in April and run through October of 2024. When we're on a fixed rate, that PEA will continue to apply to us. We don't have to pay it. So we don't pay that extra half cent per kilowatt hour. If we're an Ameren customer, we do. So at the very minimum right now, we're about a half cent less than Ameren's kilowatt hour when our kilowatt hours start being charged to Constellation in April. So that's kind of the story, and the mayor was kind enough to ask me to come over and try to explain what can get pretty complicated, but the bottom line is, right now, we're just about even with Ameren, and we expect that to change fairly significantly when Ameren adjusts its rates in June. Mr. Mayor, I have a question.
Thank you very much. Anyone have any questions? Seeing none, thank you for your
Thank you.
presentation. I think
Thanks,
you
everyone.
explained it well.
Thank you.
Ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of the Business Development District Number 1 redevelopment agreement by and between the City of Taylorville, Illinois and Energy Solutions Retrofit and Installation, LLC, and Curtis Ryan and Melanie Ryan. Motion to approve. Alderman Bud, second.
Second.
Alderman Dorchenez, questions or comments? Roll call.
Yes. Steve Dorchenez,
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll.
Yes. Yes.
Jeremy Wilson.
Yes.
Doug Brown.
Yes.
Megan Bryan.
Yes.
Mayor Barry.
Yes, motion carries 9-0. Ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of a Business Development District Number 1 redevelopment agreement by and between the City of Taylorville, Illinois and John Millette and LLC. Motion to approve. Alderman Bud, second.
Second.
Alderman Wilson, questions or comments? Roll call.
Steve Dorchenez.
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Chris Teddy.
Yes.
Jeremy Wilson.
Yes.
Doug Brown.
Yes.
Megan Bryan.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Mayor Barry.
Yes, motion carries 9-0. Ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of a Business Development District Number 1 redevelopment agreement by and between the City of Taylorville, Illinois and Matt Rogers.
So moved.
Motion by Alderman Bryant, second.
Second.
Alderman Bud, questions or comments? Roll call.
Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Jim
Yes.
Olive. Chris Teddy.
Yes.
Jeremy Wilson.
Yes.
Doug Brown.
Yes.
Megan Bryan.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Steve
Yes.
Dorchenez. Mayor Barry.
Yes, motion carries 9-0. Ordinance to propose the approval of an amendment to the Business Development District redevelopment plan and establish a date for a public hearing for the second amendment to the Taylorville Business Development District Number 1. Motion to approve the ordinance. Alderman Bud, second.
Second.
Alderman Ollie, questions or comments? Roll call.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Chris Teddy.
Yes.
Jeremy Wilson.
Yes.
Doug Brown.
Yes.
Megan Bryan.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Steve
Yes.
Dorchenez. Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Mayor Barry.
Yes, motion carries 9-0. Ordinance authorizing the sale of personal property owned by the City of Taylorville personal property from the lake, police, cemetery, water, street, and sewer departments. Motion to approve the ordinance by Alderman Bryant, second.
Second.
Alderman Bud, questions or comments? Roll call.
Crystal Teddy?
Yes.
Jeremy Wilson?
Yes.
Doug Brown?
Yes.
Megan Bryan?
Yes.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Steve
Yes.
Dorsones? Kathy Driscoll?
Yes.
Jim Olive?
Yes.
Mayor Barry?
Yes, motion carries 9-0. Resolution to approve the easement agreement with Sharon K. Masterson. Motion by
So moved.
Alderman Dorsones, second. Second, Alderman Driscoll. Comments or questions? Roll call.
Jeremy Wilson?
Yes.
Doug Brown?
Yes.
Megan Bryan?
Yes.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Steve Dorsones?
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll?
Yes.
Jim Olive? Crystal Teddy?
Yes. Motion carries 8-0. Motion to authorize and direct the mayor to sign change order number 3 final in the increased amount of $4,545.37 for the Bidwell Street, Cheney Street, Esther Street, and City Hall alley improvements from Truman L. Flat and Sons Company Incorporated. Motion by
So moved.
Alderman Wilson, second.
Second.
Alderman Bud, questions or comments? Roll call.
Doug Brown?
Yes.
Megan Bryan?
Yes.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Steve
Yes.
Dorsones? Kathy Driscoll?
Yes.
Jim Olive?
Yes.
Crystal Teddy?
Yes.
Jeremy Wilson?
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0. Motion to authorize and direct the mayor to sign the application certificate for payment number 2 final in the amount of $104,844.32 for the Bidwell Street, Cheney Street, Esther Street, and City Hall alley improvement project from Truman L. Flat and Sons Company Incorporated. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Alderman Wilson, second.
Second.
Alderman Brown, questions or comments? Roll call.
Megan Bryan?
Yes.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Steve Dorsones?
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll? Jim Olive?
Yes.
Yes.
Crystal Teddy?
Yes.
Jeremy Wilson?
Yes.
Doug Brown?
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0. Motion to authorize and direct the mayor to sign contract change order number 4 final in the decreased amount of $167.87 for East Main Cross Street Improvement Project from Truman L. Flat and Sons Company Incorporated. Motion by Alderman Brown, second.
Second.
Alderman Olive, questions or comments? Roll call.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Steve
Yes.
Dorsones? Kathy Driscoll?
Yes.
Jim Olive?
Yes.
Crystal Teddy?
Yes.
Jeremy Wilson?
Yes.
Doug Brown?
Yes.
Megan Bryan?
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0. Motion to authorize and direct the mayor to sign pay estimate number 8 final in the amount of $105,743.12 for the East Main Cross Street Improvement Project from Truman L. Flat and Sons Company Incorporated, and approve payment pending receipt of final waiver of lien from contractor and subcontractors and final certified payrolls. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Alderman Bud, second.
Second.
Alderman Olive, questions or comments? Roll call.
Steve Dorsones?
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll?
Yes.
Jim Olive?
Yes.
Crystal Teddy?
Yes.
Jeremy Wilson?
Yes.
Doug Brown?
Yes.
Megan Bryan?
Yes.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0. Turn your page over, the next motion was withdrawn. The next one is motion to approve to advertise and bid Wyandotte Alley Drainage Improvement Project pending receipt of right-of-way signed documents from property owners to be paid for by award for funds. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Alderman Dorsones, second. Alderman Driscoll, comments or questions? Roll call.
Kathy Driscoll?
Yes.
Jim Olive?
Yes.
Crystal Teddy?
Yes.
Jeremy Wilson?
Yes.
Doug Brown?
Yes.
Megan Bryan?
Yes.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Steve Dorsones?
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0. City Attorney update, Rocky?
Yes, Mayor, the first thing each of you should have received from me yesterday, an updated status report on pending litigation from several folks that have sued the city. I've just invited any of you, if you have any questions about that, you individually contact me and I'll give you any information you want on the subject. Second of all, at 5 o'clock this evening, the mayor, myself, and Marlon received looks like an email from Greg Swanson of Renewable Energy Evolution indicating that they're ready to close out the Taylorville water treatment plant solar energy project. They're offering to provide the city with some photographs and perhaps even a video, which I think we ought to ask them
around the corner, we will continue to fix our streets, including Main Street from Park to Vine, and will also shortly begin the downtown and West Main Cross projects. We have been lucky in receiving over $10 million in grant money to improve our downtown and surrounding areas. This spring, we will start our airport project, and we're waiting here regarding the Authorizing grant for our beach improvements at our lake. We seem to be improving a lot of areas, so keep up the good work. I want to personally thank all our superintendents and departments for a job well done as we continue to make Taylorville a great place to live. Thank you. Committee reports. Discussions and/or motions to approve and/or adopt and/or deny and/or table and/or amend and/or refer to an appropriate committee in whole and part the matters regarding the following subject matters discussed at the committee level. Finance Committee, Alderman Bud.
Motion direct to the city council to direct the city attorney to prepare an ordinance to raise the video gaming terminal fee from $25 per terminal to $250 per terminal. Make that in form of a motion.
Motion by Alderman Bud, second. Second, Alderman Skoltedi. Questions or comments?
I have questions and comments. Is this from the gallery?
Let's see if we
Well-
have any questions from the Alderman first, please. Any questions or comments? All right, you have the floor.
Mr. Mayor, can I comment before you entertain some questions on that subject, please?
Yeah.
Just for everybody's edification, this statute under the Video Gaming Act, it was amended back on December 17th of 2021, which allows the city to start charging instead of $25 a terminal, up to $250 a terminal. Interesting, though, that I don't know that the licensed establishments are aware of this, but the legislature also added a sentence to that statute that says that $250 would seem to me that the licensee can go back to the terminal operator, that's the one that furnishes the terminal, and they have to pay half of that. So, even though it goes from 25 to 250, your licensee should be aware they should be able to go back to the terminal operator and collect 125 should this ordinance get passed.
All right, state your name and
Vanessa Wiseman, I own Wiseau's in Taylorville, and I'm here to say I don't think you should raise it. My first question is any corporate gaming companies here? There's my first question. There should be an ordinance or something passed that you charge people that do not put money back into this community a higher fee than people that locally own businesses here. That's my first comment. Second, I don't think you should. I mean, those that hold establishments like bars, you know, as you know, our license have doubled actually since I bought a bar in 14. We continue to pay it. We paid it through COVID. It was rough. We dug into our own savings, but we give money back to the community. Those places don't. And I know that for a fact there are other towns that charge out of town or out of county fees to other businesses that aren't locally owned. So when is enough enough? You know, because what's going to happen is I understand you guys want to raise it to 250 and the state says that we can, but all you're doing is driving bars out and those corporations that own 15, 20, 30, hundreds of gaming parlors. 250 is nothing to them. Yes, we get half of it paid by the gaming company, but that's still $600 that we cannot put back in the community. That's income for us. So I ask you not to raise it.
any other questions or comments? Ma'am,
I own 2 bars here in Taylorville,
You may,
and I've
please.
been doing this for,
state your name.
Tammy Scott, been doing this for almost 34 years. I've been running bars, longest one in this town. We cannot hardly make it. But the Ameren, our bills are so high, all the gaming parlors, you walk in IGA right now, their games are packed. I've been working all day, I've had 1 person in my bar. You guys have saturated the town with the gaming, and now you want to raise it on us. We can't afford this. None of us can. You guys need to take consideration. We live here, we've been here our whole lives, we're running business, trying to do the right thing. Why don't you pick on somebody else that has a corporation or something? Why us individual ones?
Any other comments or questions? sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ray Coons, former alderman, former county board member. Your Honor, I was asked to be here by some businesses, and I have to concur with some of the statements been made. With inflation the way it is and the prices of everything going up, I know some of these businesses cannot handle more fees and everything else. I would ask the council to delay this or go back to committee and find other resources internally to make up the cost for the city. But please do not put this on small business owners, at least at this time, not with everything going on and the prices being outrageous. Like she said, some of these places just can't afford it. And, you know, I don't want to see places closing up because they can't pay their bills. So I would just ask that you reconsider this, or at least delay it, or, you know, look at other means. Thank you, sir.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, like my Ameren bill, it's $1,900. You got these gaming parlors, they got one room. How much is their Ameren bill compared to ours? How much is their water? How many employees do they employ? You got all these people in these little things, nothing against the gaming people at all. But you're comparing us, you're putting us in the same box, and we're nowhere near, everything is 3 times more for us. There's, you know, we're just running a household, living here, putting everything back. It's not fair to us. You need to find somebody else besides bars and the gaming people to pick on for a minute. Go to the corporations. There's a bunch of them. You know, we're just raising our families trying to make a living here. You know, we can't afford it.
Any other comments, questions? Roll call?
Jim Olive,
Yes.
Chris Teddy,
Yes.
Jeremy Wilson,
No.
Doug Brown,
Yes.
Megan Bryant,
Yes.
Larry Bud,
Yes.
Steve Dorsones.
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-1.
Wow.
You guys really look out for the city.
Motion to recommend to the city council to approve the contribution of $7,000. I'm sorry. Go ahead,
I'm done.
Mr. Rudd.
Motion to direct the city council to approve the contribution of $7,500 to the Taylorville Optimus Club for the 4th of July fireworks. This is paid from the hotel based tax funds. Make that form a motion.
Motion by Alderman Bud, second. Second. Alderman Skoltedi, questions or comments? I have one comment. I've been in talks with Jim Adcock. They may or may not have the fireworks. The Optimus Club is going to decide at their next meeting or so. And so I just wanted you guys to be aware of that. Roll call?
Chris Teddy,
Yes.
Jeremy Wilson.
Yes.
Doug Brown,
Yes.
Megan Bryant,
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Steve Dorsones.
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll,
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0.
And the final motion to recommend the city council to accept the treasurer's report as presented. Make that motion.
Motion by Alderman Bud, second.
Second.
Alderman Dorsones, questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Ordinance. Alderman Skoltedi.
You have one job.
Thank you, Mayor. Motion to recommend the city council direct the city attorney to prepare an ordinance to rescind ordinance number 2455 to allow for the removal of the no parking signs on the south side of 200 block of West Exeter. Make that form of motion.
Motion by Alderman Skoltedi, second.
Second.
Alderman Bud, questions or comments? Roll call?
Jeremy Wilson.
Yes.
Doug Brown.
Yes.
Megan Bryant,
No.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Steve Dorsones.
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll,
Yes.
Jim Olive. Chris Teddy.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-1. Back to finance, Alderman Bud.
Oh,
Okay.
oh, no, wait.
Okay, yeah. Motion to direct the city council to advertise for auditor of the city of Taylorville. Make that form a motion.
Motion by Alderman Bud, second.
Second.
Alderman Wilson, questions or comments? Roll call?
Doug Brown,
Yes.
Megan Bryant,
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Steve Dorsones.
No.
Kathy Driscoll,
Yes.
Jim Olive,
Yes.
Chris Teddy.
Yes.
Jeremy Wilson.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-1. Street and sewer, Alderman Wilson.
Thank you, Mayor. Motion to recommend the city council approve the quote from Altover for parts and labor to repair the track loader at a cost not to exceed $21,000 $9.37. The street department paying $5,359.85. Sewer department paying $5,359.84. Lake department $5,359.84. And the water department $5,359.84. Paid out of the equipment line item. Make that a formal motion.
Motion by Alderman Wilson, second.
Second.
Alderman Skoltedi, questions or comments? Roll call.
Megan Bryant?
Yes.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Steve Dorsones?
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll?
Yes.
Jim Olive?
Yes.
Chris Teddy?
Yes.
Jeremy Wilson?
Yes.
Greg Brown?
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0.
Motion to recommend the city council approve the sewer department to purchase 6-inch sewer pump from Velocity at a cost not to exceed $61,123 to be paid out of the sewer equipment line item and to waive any statutory bidding requirements. Make that a formal motion.
Motion by Alderman Wilson, second.
Second.
Alderman Bud, questions or comments? Roll call.
Where was it from? Velocity.
I got all offer.
Yeah.
It's Velocity.
Okay, same as what we talked about in committee.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
I missed it.
Roll call, please.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Steve Dorsones?
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll?
Yes.
Jim Olive?
Yes.
Chris Teddy?
Yes.
Jeremy Wilson?
Yes.
Doug Brown?
Yes.
Megan Bryant?
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0. Personnel, Alderman Driscoll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion to recommend to the city council to approve to hire 22 summer/seasonal help employees with a breakdown as follows: HBO, 1 staff foot; Lake Department, 5 summer seasonal and 1 staff foot; Water Department, 4 summer seasonal; Cemetery, 2 summer seasonal and 3 staff foot; Street Department, 6 summer seasonal, with the option to hire through staff foot if there is an inadequate number of applications for the summer seasonal employees. I'll make that in form of a motion.
Motion by Alderman Driscoll, second.
Second.
Alderman Olive, questions or comments? Roll call.
Steve Dorsones?
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll?
Yes.
Jim
Yes.
Olive? Chris Teddy?
Yes.
Jeremy Wilson?
Yes.
Doug Brown?
Yes.
Megan Bryant?
Yes.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0. Emergency services. Alderman Bryant.
Thank you. First is a motion to recommend to the city council to allow a police officer to purchase his or her current firearm and 3 magazines at a cost of $350. Department will purchase a new Glock 47 MOS firearm at a cost not to exceed $434, with $350 of that coming from the sale of the old firearm and $84 coming from the police department equipment line item.
Motion by Alderman Bryant, second.
Second.
Alderman Brown, questions or comments? Roll call.
Kathy Driscoll?
Yes.
Jim
Yes.
Olive? Chris Teddy?
Yes.
Jeremy Wilson?
Yes.
Doug Brown?
Yes.
Megan Bryant?
Yes.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Steve Dorsones?
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0. Motion to approve and/or ratify payment of bills. Motion by
So moved.
Alderman Bud, second.
Second.
Alderman Bryant, comment, Alderman Bud.
Health insurance, $127,936.48. Electric, $39,764.14. Garbage, $2,448. Bronze, Farm and Home and Walmart card, $3,608.40. Aldi sales tax reimbursement, $14,898.12. And this is, I think, number 12, payment number 12. PS Spring, $1,390.70. RP Lumber, $1,404.82. Altor for $4,816.87. Julie, this is for the water and sewer, $2,581.14. Meyer Austin Romano, $8,204.73. USA Blue Book, $2,488.77. Banavector Engineering, $41,479.71. United Capital Funding, $1,834.56. Taylorville Community School District, this is the TIF reimbursement, $10,102.91. Police Department, Alpha Omega, $3,754. Gracie Helmut, what, I'm not sure on her name, $2,040. And I do have a question. Chief, how long is that going to be for? Because that's been going on now for quite some time.
With this, sir.
That Gracie for the training,
Oh, it's supposed to be indefinite, but we cut it down drastically.
okay. Anyway, 2,040 for her. Fire Department, dolls for equipment, 1,730.20. Max Fire and Safety uniforms and equipment. This is for turnout gear, 5,252. BH Broughton, 11,418.68. Street Department, trim and flat, 361,736.27. Bodine Electric for the traffic signals, 10,508.17. Decker Supply, 1,931.76. Woody's Municipal Supply, 5,583.19. Water Department Chemicals, 35,232.25. Brooks and Associates, 2,271.03. Hydrokinetics, 1,895.03. IMCO, 1,598.28. Interstate Hydraulics, 1,045. Midwest Meter, 9,780. And this is for quite a few for the meter. Sewer Department, OmniSite, 4,559.80. Tow Equipment, 1,287.77. JCG Midwest, 1,570. Goldenberg Materials, 4,172.03. Airport Aero Energy, 30,883.13. Yard Heating and Cooling, 13,704.67. And these total to 766,786.13.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Roll call.
Jim Mullin,
Yes.
Chris Popetti,
Yes.
Jeremy Wilson.
Yes.
Doug Brown.
Yes.
Nikki Brennan.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Steve
Yes.
Chambers, Becky Driscoll.
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0. First subparagraph G of 5 ILCS 120/2.06. This portion of the city council meeting is reserved for any person wishing to address the council on any relevant subject matters concerning the city. The Illinois Open Meeting Act 5 ILCS 120/1FC mandates no action shall be taken on subject matters not listed on the agenda, but the council may direct staff to address the topic or refer the subject matter to a future council and/or committee meeting. If anyone wishes to address the council, please provide your name and address, limit your comments or presentation to 3 minutes, and avoid repetitious comments. Anybody out there like to speak to the council? Any alderman got anything to say? Motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Alderman Bryant, second.
Second.
Alderman Brown, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you very much.